What is up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be watching a video from Leo about why bots are Fortnite's biggest problem, or one of Fortnite's biggest problems. And a lot of times when people in the Fortnite community make something about being the biggest problem, it's usually something that just doesn't matter very much to me. It'll be like the locker UI, or like whether or not there's a live event, or, you know, something that isn't directly gameplay related. But I agree that bots are a significant problem in Fortnite, or at least the way it currently is. Although I don't think anything will change, and I think for most people this is an issue that they don't really care about. For more experienced players, I do think the amount of AI in the lobbies kind of does diminish the enjoyment for the game. It definitely is something that's good to have. Like, I'm not saying that bots should be removed entirely. I think especially for new players, it's something that's really helpful. I honestly think they should have a mode that's just against 100% AI, and people can play that to their heart content at any time and like familiarize themselves with the game. But even when you've played a lot of matches and had, you know, hundreds or thousands of wins, there's a lot of AI in the matches, and it makes things feel very fake. But let's get into the video. If you enjoy this, give it a like, sub. His video and channel will be linked in the description below, as always.
Bots or AI players shouldn't be in Fortnite, to some degree. While everyone and their grandma cried about Marvel mashup skins, trust me guys, it's really important and it affects the gameplay. I've been in the trenches for the past 2 weeks dealing with the Force so annoying that it genuinely pissed me off beyond belief. Those of you who aren't aware, there was a bug in Fortnite Reload that made it to where there was a large chance of you being put in entire bot lobbies.
So I haven't played Reload recently, but apparently this was a thing where sometimes you would just load into a game and there was not a single human inside of it. And once you realize that, it just kind of removes any potential for that match to be enjoyable, I think, if you are someone who's decent at the game. That's kind of the biggest thing about the Fortnite AI, is the reason why it's not that big of a deal to a lot of people is because they can't even tell the difference between AI and real players. But when you've played a lot and you know that difference, they stick out like a sore thumb.
Entire bot lobbies. This wasn't good for many reasons, but during this time period, it got me.
Wait, how did he see this person? He's literally cheating.
Entire bot lobbies.
I see nothing, and he just shoots and gets a kill.
This wasn't good for many reasons, but
Look at this.
Bot lobbies. Entire bot lobbies.
That's
This wasn't
wild.
good for many reasons, but during this time period, it got me thinking, bots really hindered the game since their implementation in Chapter 2, and everyone just got used to it, and now it's a normal thing.
And yes, there's bot kills. This is just part of the game now.
Because it gives
I agree. I don't think it's going to change.
you something to shoot at and feel like you're actually good at the game.
But these are all real players. He wasn't real. That wasn't a real guy.
What do you mean?
Kind of.
Like, that's just so sad to me that that's like a common, like, this shows the extent of like this being an impact on the game. This is a common discussion for people to have when playing the game, or maybe for you to have when playing the game with your friends, is like, is this thing we're fighting real or not? Like, I feel like so many of you have had, like, either said they're not real or they are real, or like had a discussion after the fight about whether or not the thing you just fought is real. And I feel like that shows the extent to like how deep this is.
Discovered that there is a lot of AI, more than you might think.
What pissed me off about the Reload situation is that one of the big reasons why I adored Fortnite Reload was because it didn't have any bots. It was a quick adrenaline rush.
I agree. At the launch of it, it seemed like there was very little, if no, AI. And to a lot of people, this made it feel too sweaty that they had to fight people that fought back. But I don't know. It's one of those things, there's no pleasing everyone. But I agree. That was like one of the things that felt nice about playing the mode to me.
Rush. The excuse of bots existing in Reload can't be because there's not enough people online, considering the fact that lobbies have 40 people compared to the 100 in regular BR. It was an intentional addition, and you have all these people saying, Reload's too sweaty, Reload's too sweaty. Why does it matter? Why can't different modes in Fortnite be
Because they're not winning.
different? That should be the point. Fortnite can do whatever it wants for pubs, but it genuinely drains.
I feel like at the start of Reload, I think a lot of people will disagree with this, but I feel like it just had very lax skill-based matchmaking. Like, I didn't feel like Reload games were more sweaty than my pubs in terms of like player quality. Like, there was obviously like the pacing of it and the fact that you have to like fight people potentially multiple times over and over again in a game, but it didn't feel like the player quality was that much higher. And my personal guess on that is just that the skill-based matchmaking wasn't as strict, and there was less AI, if no AI. And so that resulted in people who are typically in much easier matches seeing what like an average match would be like. But that might just be my perspective on that.
Any
I didn't play the mode like an absurd amount.
sort of interest I have in the game as soon as I realize that no one in my game is real. Yep. Now, mind you, this bug was fixed for the most part. There might be some instances where this can happen to people still. I am curious as to why there isn't an option to disable them at this point. I'm telling you right now that I would rather have an option to turn off bots and have a longer queue time. I mean,
I feel like that's basically ranked, and that's what people say. I don't think that's like a decent argument, but like there's already so many playlists in Fortnite with like solo, duo, trio, quad, and then zero build and build versions of all those game modes, and then ranked versions of all those modes, and then reload on top of that with its builds and zero builds versions. There's like a million different playlists at this point, so I feel like dividing each of those playlists into another version of just like no bots is just too much. Like I don't know, and I feel like a lot of people would just like not even opt into the bots, or like a lot of people wouldn't care to turn it off. I feel like a lot of people like having the bots in the game. And the reason why I think having ranked as a solution isn't the best, which it is true, once you get to a high enough rank, there are no AI in the matches. But the thing is, ranked and public matches create a very different experience. Like public matches with 100 real players do not play how ranked matches play with 100 real players. Like people tend to play more passive because the rank system kind of, encourages that at times. And they care about the rank they don't want to lose. So I feel like just saying that like ranked doesn't have AI, that's true, but it's such a different version of the game, especially at this point with like the loot pool split. Like I like ranked how it currently is, but like it's not a one-to-one comparison. I feel like there's a vast difference between pubs with no AI and the way ranked is played.
I know that's not what everyone would want, but I'd be a liar if I said that I wouldn't be willing to make that sacrifice if it meant that I would have an authentic game. Who are you people? I think bots originally serving the purpose of introducing you to a new chapter so you can feel the map out. That's fine, but
or for new players. Like I'm not against AI existing. I just think the amount of them should be reduced or the system changed. I think for somebody who's just getting into the game for the first time, it is probably incredibly overwhelming how much like stuff there is to worry about, especially if they haven't played shooters before. So I think the way the game works now is that if you make a new account, it'll be all bot lobbies for a period of time. I think that's good, and I think it should be like an optional game mode where people could just play versus bots constantly.
Beyond that, I don't see a purpose for them. It's redundant. And I think bots in general just prevent people from actually learning the game naturally because they try to hold your hand with the bots, but it's like, that doesn't accomplish anything. How are they ever gonna learn? If the servers struggle to fill 100 player lobbies,
I don't think it, I think it has nothing to do with player count. I think it's just so that there's free kills walking around for everybody to get, and then the game, their metrics have determined that if people get kills more frequently, they're going to keep playing. Like if Timmy gets 10 games in a row where he dies off spawn with no kills, he's probably going to get off. And so they need to throw him a few AI kills to like kind of keep him playing the game. And like I already touched on, there's so many people that don't even know that there is bots or don't know how to tell what is or isn't a bot. And so it doesn't negatively impact the game for them. I feel like it's like a spoiling of certain holidays when people kind of realize that bots are in the game and that a lot of what they've been fighting hasn't been real. There's so many people that are fooled by it early on.
Then they should just start the game with the players they have instead of slopping on some AI bots. I'm genuinely surprised there isn't a lot of uproar about this topic. Even Fortnite's strongest soldiers like Cypher, Dunkin' Donuts, PK, and Courage JD aren't huge fans of this either. Whenever people like Courage have the balls to critique the game they make content on, it's normally greeted with people spewing the same bullshit about how they should just play ranked and Fortnite's already sweaty as it is. I'm not even gonna acknowledge that because that's just stupid. What I am gonna acknowledge is that Courage actually deleted his original tweet criticizing bots in Fortnite.
When is this, September 3rd? I've seen clips recently of him going into like a rant about bots. Like I've seen Courage complain about this a lot.
You can still see the replies. It's heartbreaking to see so many figures in the community afraid to criticize this game publicly and to hold them accountable for things because
I don't really agree with them like the fact that they're scared to criticize the game. Like maybe I just haven't seen what he's talking about, but I have seen like several clips recently of Courage like complaining about bots in the game.
I've noticed that everything's okay as soon as Fortnite key jangles another skin, and all's right with the world, and every problem that they were just criticizing gets mitigated, at least temporarily. People need to realize that most critiques, or mine at least, are to better the game. I genuinely don't believe we've ever seen Fortnite at its best, despite what the numbers say about
Bro, that cat looked crazy.
The game. I genuinely don't believe we've ever seen Fortnite at its best.
These new Fortnite graphics are wild. This reminded me of that Connectimals game. I think that's what it was called, the Connect Animals.
Despite what the numbers say about Fortnite OG, and that its full potential hasn't been unlocked in my opinion. And if we want to be there, then we have to start somewhere. Start with small things that hinder the game. Cypher used to criticize bots being in the game. He had like an entire arc on his channel.
Okay, so I actually agree with this. This is what I was going to say, at least how I interpret this. The way I would like to see this system changed is the amount of AI in matches reduced significantly for average to above average players. I think for very new players or people who are not very good at the game, or, you know, like there's potentially like very little kids that are going to be playing, or like people with disabilities, I think there should be a somewhat like protected bracket with mostly AI in the matches. But I do think there should, like, maybe that's like the bottom 30% of the player base, and then the remaining 70 is just kind of in random-ish matchmaking with like very limited AI. There's this misconception in the Fortnite community that you like eventually get to the point where there is no AI in your matches, and that's just not true in public matches. And I feel like if you're a very good player, there's maybe even more AI in the matches because there's not as much matching for you. So like I've talked about this a million times, but it's just a very good example of this. In chapter 3, I was playing zero build solos, and I eliminated Tfue and Zemi in the same solo public match. Like those are two incredibly good players. I fight them back to back and eliminate them. I'm like top 10 in the world for solo wins. Clearly that's not an easy lobby, but those were like the only people I fought, I think. Like I fought so much AI after fighting them. I went back and watched their perspective on it. They fought so much AI before fighting me. I feel like there is a point where like in the higher skilled matches where there's not as many people to match. So you just end up in a match with like an absurd amount of AI and then like a few very good players. Like I've experienced that a lot. I feel like those are kind of how my matches feel, is either several kind of like average-ish good players in the match and obviously AI, or like a few incredibly good players and like way too much AI. Like that has been my experience. And so I think just protect the very low skilled new players, however you want to word it. Have everybody else kind of be the same. Maybe put in like 20 AI, if that. I would like none, but I don't think that's going to happen. And I don't think anything will change with this issue because of what I talked about before with like nobody, like a lot of newer players or a lot of people who are getting fed the AI kills don't even know their AI. And then the people who are aware of this to the point where it's like making the game less fun for them to play are already hooked on the game. So Epic has like zero incentive to actually fix this, I think, even though I would like it to change. But it's like, I think it's just one of those things where how we're currently at satisfies the most amount of people possible.
I think during chapter 2 season 2 to chapter 2 season 3ish, I want to say. And now you have people hesitant to show any sort of pushback towards features now. And Courage deleting his tweet further proves that. What, Courage? Are you scared? Are you scared that they're gonna take you off that list for Epic partners?
Dude, I want to find the clips. I swear I've seen clips of Courage complaining about the bots like very recently. Like it was like a new update. That's how I know. Like it was with the Iron Man stuff in the game.
Probably. What do I have to lose? I'll do it. They're gonna take away my creator code? I'm not gonna get early access to skins? Is that really it? If so, then let me be straight up. Epic Games. Bots gotta go. Also, having a popular mode being taken over by bots for like 2 weeks is...
That's bizarre. I hope that was like a bug. But it might have not even been a bug. It might have just been a test. Like, hey, let's make reload 100% AI and see if playtime drops. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they test things like that.
Asinine. But considering that there's a small minority of people that like having bots around, I'm willing to throw out 3 possible options of how Epic Games might handle this. Number 1, bots don't change and we're just gonna
I think this is the likely outcome.
have to put up with it for the rest of time.
Get the bots out of the game!
Number 2, bots are
I
entirely
love Ninja, bro.
removed from either all modes or just ranked/reload. Or 3, they add an option to wait in longer queues for no bots. I hope people realize
I feel like 3 is not going to happen, and I feel like 2 is kind of, it's like basically them changing nothing. I feel like that's kind of how it is. But maybe like Reload has AI now, I'm not sure.
that this isn't a crazy complaint. It's not a balance change, it's not a gun, it's not a POI or an update. I'm just advocating to fight real people in a video game. On the bright side, as I'm recording this, Epic announced that there's going to be a ranked reload playlist, which fingers crossed, this could be a place where bots are non-existent. And
My understanding of AI in ranked is that they're in the very low ranks, but once you get to like plat or diamond, I think there's no more AI. And that does somewhat make sense because like if people level out of the low ranks and there's nobody to fill that place, you know? So I guess that makes sense. But I was like thinking about doing a spectating bronze lobby at one point, but I saw metrics that bronze is like 15 real people and 85 AI, and so I was just like, okay, yeah, no, that's not going to be an interesting video.
I'm hoping that this is a solution to cement it in once and for all, so reload can be the chaotic mode we all love. But that's just reload. My needs are fulfilled, yeah, but that's not the case for everyone. Not everyone plays reload. And I think a lot of people would prefer if bots were reworked across the board. And before you say anything, I'm aware of players' elo being a factor, but even when I have completely gapped the elo where bots are frequent, I still see them.
Like I said, I feel like if you're at the very high end, you actually see more bots. Like, I feel like a 10 out of 10 player is going to have more bots in their lobby than a 6 out of 10 player. Even though that makes no sense, I just think there's less matches on, like, the highest end of the matchmaking, so it just throws you in with, like, several good players in AI.
That shouldn't be a thing.
No, 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 no! Everyone!
Let me ask you this, how many times have you been in a 1v1 and you realize that the last person alive is literally a bot? It's
A lot, especially in chapter 5. I feel like the addition of like the objectives to go for, like medallions, bunkers, island, it just results in you fighting the more active players earlier on, and then at the end you just either have AI that have done nothing all game or people hiding. I feel like it's incredibly infrequent that like the end of the match I actually fight anybody decent at this point in time. And I think that is like the big problem with this. A lot of people would look at this and be like, why is it a problem anyways? Just kill the AI and go about your day. But it just makes playing the game significantly less satisfying and rewarding to play. There is ranked as an option, like I said, and that does feel more satisfying to win in a high, like if you're Unreal and you get a win, it feels much better than winning in a pub match, right? But like the average gameplay experience, I feel like is so different that it's not a replacement. So yeah, I think just having a bunch of AI in the game makes it feel like hollow, and it makes winning not feel very good. And I think that's a big problem for a BR to have, because BRs are games with a lot of downtime and a lot of boring moments. Like what made BRs popular was how good it felt to win and how rewarding it felt to win. And like sure, with like the matchmaking now and AI, more people are getting more kills and getting more wins, but like I feel like you get to the point where it just feels hollow. And I'm actually interested in the comments of this. Let me know how you feel about the bots in the game, because I think it is a not popular issue. Like I think most people just don't care or they're happy with it, but I do think there's a lot of people who kind of feel like how I do, where it just kind of makes winning feel more hollow.
It's the most anticlimactic shit ever. Bots or AI players have been in the game since chapter 2. It's been 5 years. I mean, all of chapter 1 didn't have bots and we were fine during that. And yet, no matter how tired
Didn't have skill-based matchmaking either in chapter 1. It was just random matchmaking. Some people played for months before getting their first win. That was like a somewhat common occurrence. But it made that win feel so good when you got it.
we are of them, it's never reached a point where they had to be entirely removed. We've come close to that one time, but Fortnite
This is cap.
them, it's never reached a point where they had to be entirely removed. We've come close.
I was so mad about this. So this is back in chapter 2 season 2, and people said they removed skill-based matchmaking. What this post says is, changes. On May 4th, 2020, skill-based matchmaking was removed only for the game mode of squads near the end of Chapter 2, Season 2. Not only has the squads game mode been improved, but there seems to be more bots in a lobby as well. There was only AI. Like, for some reason, there was a period of time where if you played squads at the end of that season, it was like only AI matches. There would maybe be one squad, maybe two, but it was like primarily AI. And then so many people were like, they removed SBMM. And it's like, no, the removal of skill-based matchmaking would not be AI everywhere. It would be random matchmaking. Like, skill levels in the lobby would be random. You would have some easy lobbies, you'd have some hard lobbies. Most skill level of the lobbies would follow a bell curve because that's naturally how player skill ends up. That's kind of like what a bell curve signifies. But I was so tilted about this. This is like almost 5 years ago, and I'm tilted about it just thinking about it because people kept telling me that that's what no SBMM was like, and it's just not at all.
Close to that one time, but Fortnite never sealed the deal. Yet we just put up with it for some reason. What if we change that? So
like I said already, the people who care about this are already hooked on the game, and the people who like AI or don't know about AI are on the fence, and so it makes business sense to cater to the people who aren't yet hooked.
Decided to do is to start a movement to remove Fortnite bots. I have a hashtag that we can all start using on Twitter, that is hashtag remove Fortnite bots. Also, if you do use that hashtag, be responsible out there, don't be a donkey. If you're obnoxious about it, literally no one's gonna take you seriously. And on that note, I'm gonna wrap it up and say thank you for watching. Have fun out there.
That was a good video. I agree that it's a significant problem. I don't think they should be removed completely, and if they are removed completely, I feel like there should be an entire AI mode added for people that want that and kind of want a more chill environment to familiarize themselves with the game. But I don't think anything will change about this. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, whether or not you like or dislike AI or want anything to change at all. I do think this is a more significant problem than a lot of the things people complain about in the community, but it is something that I feel like is more problematic for people that play a lot and are more serious players and not so much casual players. But I will see you guys in the next one. Leo's video will be linked down in the description below. Thanks for watching.